Welcome back to the Current Electric High School Basketball Boys State Championship Preview Show, presented by Cannon and Dunphy. I'm Mike McGivern alongside Coach Paul Wallersheim from Greendale Martin Luther. Coach, the second Division V game today will be the number 2 ranked Crusaders from Sheboygan Lutheran taking on the number 3 ranked team from Abundant Christian Life. Let's start with Sheboygan Lutheran. They're 24-2 overall, tied for first place in the Big East South Conference. They're coached by Nick Verhagen, 13th year as the head coach. And Sheboygan Lutheran's had a lot of success over the years, Coach. When we talked with Coach Verhagen, he talked about this year's team compared to teams in the past.
The first thing that comes to mind is in the past, in 12, we had Sam. In 19, we had J.O. and Casey. And this year, we don't necessarily have an alpha. If you look at our rosters, it's a pretty spread even. I don't know what the scoring looks like, but I'm guessing it's 5 or 6 guys that average between 13 and 10 or 14 and 9 or something like that. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then the second thing that comes to mind is I think our defensive the way we prioritize the defensive side of the court, I think, is different than years in the past. We still are prideful in our kind of electric offense, but defensively, we certainly have our best group right now that I think I've ever had at this point.
That's a big comment by Coach Verhagen. This might be the best group that I've ever had. And he went on to talk about, having that alpha, having that go-to guy, who's going to take the last shot. And we all remember Decker's shot up at State. In fact, you were in the hallway for that, right? Watching it. Right. You guys played after. And he doesn't have that. But for him to say this is the best group that we've had, their conference is a really good basketball conference as well. And I'm a big fan of his, Coach. You've had teams in the past where you've had 1 or 2 kind of the alpha, and then you've had other teams where you've had 4 or 5 guys that are capable. What's your feeling on the difference between how you coach a team like that?
Yeah, I think there's got to be buy-in. When it's going to be 5 guys, or if it's going to be 1 or 2 guys, it's all about how good, as a coaching staff and as the players buy into accepting the roles, whether it's 1 or 2 guys that are your go-to guys or a group of 5. And even if you just have 2 good players, you also need really good players. So I think there's a bigger challenge with trying to have 1 or 2 good players to get the rest of the guys to buy into that. When you have 4 or 5, everybody's getting a touch, everybody's scoring. I think that a team like that is more fun and easier to keep the team together.
And I loved when he said, look, we got away from this electric offense that we're kind of known for and settled things down and really got after it on the defensive end. That's going to be a fun team to watch. The Crusaders will take on the number 3 seed, the challengers from Abundant Life Christian. They're 23-6 overall, tied for first place in the Trailway South Conference. They are coached by Michael Theus, his 6th year as the head coach. Coach Theus talked a little bit about what it's been like in the school and part of the program after the tragedy at the school on December 16th.
After experiencing the unthinkable on December 16th, we weren't even able to practice at the school for an entire month. We had to take 3 weeks off of playing games, and all the other 24 games were condensed from that point forward. But I can't tell you how much basketball has meant to not only the guys on the team to give us something positive to focus on, but also to the school community, just to see those first couple games back, just the huge crowds. And then obviously to get this far, it's kind of a fairy tale story. And it's been, you don't move on from something like that, but the sun comes up every day and life goes on. And so the fact that we have something positive to celebrate right now it's huge for us.
Coach, I don't know personally what that's like. And I don't think you do either. And unless you're part of that basketball and school and community, boy, you don't know what it's like. And after something like that happens at the school, where you have a school shooting, you know, the first couple of days you're thinking this cloud will never go away, and you have to kind of move on a little bit. And I feel I'm so happy for them and their program to get to this point. They were at the state championship last year, and they've got this team back. But in the middle of this, to have to take a month off, not being able to practice in school, and be able to keep your kids focused and get them to understand, let's play for each other, let's play for our school, our community, and let's give our family something to cheer about. Got to be a very difficult thing for this coach in that school.
I mean, you can see the emotion in his eyes, in his voice, in his face. You can just feel what that community went through still. You can still feel it. And as that has turned into a rallying point kind of for their team, you got to be just so happy for that school, for their program, for the whole community to continue to have the success they've had and now get to state. I like Sheboygan Lutheran a lot in this D5 tournament, but I think if there's a team of destiny that can beat them and maybe win this thing, Abundant Life Christian would be it.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be rooting for them, strictly on the emotional side, that they can continue this run and have something at the end of this tragedy, which they're getting through at this point, but it's going to be something that's still going to take a while. So I think I'm kind of rooting for them just for that matter. We're going to get to a break. Other side of the break, the Division II matchups. We're going to talk about some schools from this area for sure. This is the Current Electric High School Basketball Boys State Championship Preview Show presented by Cannon and Dunphy, only on My 24.